Hi. Now we discuss the second year intermediate chapter electrochemistry plus 2 of central syllabus. Electrochemistry comes under physical chemistry, and this chapter is most important because this chapter increases the confidence levels of the students. So many students feel tough and multi-conceptual also this chapter actually. So from basic level, if you see of this chapter, it constitutes of two parts. One is using electricity for the chemical reaction to take place. Another is by using chemicals we are able to produce electricity. First kind of the cells are called electrolytic cells. Second type are called electrochemical cells. Let us discuss now the construction of electrolytic cell. Construction of electrolytic cell. Electrolytic cell. And first of all, we should know in these cells, type of the reactions are spontaneous reactions. In this, spontaneous reactions takes place. Spontaneous reactions take place. That is the first and foremost important point about electrolytic cell. Next, in this there are two half cells. In this cell constitutes two half cells. In this there are two half cells. Two half cells. There are two half cells together called redox couple. These are two half cells together called redox couples. Why it is redox couple? Because in one half cell oxidation reaction takes place, in another half cell redox reaction takes place. That is why it is called a redox couple. Also important term. Redox couple. So in these electrolytic cells there are redox couples are there. General convention of representation, diagrammatic representation of this electrolytic cell is left side we represent or we take left side we take oxidation of cell. Left side always we keep oxidation of cell. Oxidation of cell. Left side oxidation of cell. Oxidation of cell. Right side we take a reduction of cell. Reduction. There are two half cells. There are two half cells. Left side is called oxidation of cell. Right side one is called reduction of cell. Reduction of cell. Construction you should understand first. Very clear cut construction and general notation of the diagram also. Left side always oxidation of cell. We cannot write redox on the left side. Reduction of cell. So these two are connected by a copper wire. The two metallic rods and the left side rod is dipped in solution. If you take a zinc rod and zinc sulfate solution, we have to take. Zinc rod is dipped in zinc sulfate solution. Here copper rod is dipped in copper sulfate solution. Copper sulfate solution. Zinc sulfate contains Zn plus 2 ions and SO4 minus 2 ions. Copper sulfate contains Cu plus 2 ions and SO4 minus 2 ions. So we don't have any compounds, ions only. That solutions, electrolytic solutions they are. Okay. and the corresponding rods are dipped in this. Copper sulfate, copper rod, zinc sulfate contains zinc rod. This is anode. So what is every student should understand that zinc is more reactive than copper. Or see, this is more positive or more reactive. Or E naught value is always less, minus, actual minus, negative value, voltage, negative voltage. No need of worrying about numerical value, but left side always lesser E naught value. What is E naught? Reduction potential value. Reduction potential. Here reduction potential right side always more than the left. So lesser E naught values are taken as a anode, more reduction potential taken as a cathode. So here always E naught values greater than the anode, always. So it is always generally positive, we take generally, or less negative. Here more negative, less negative. This is also a confusing question for many students. So you should be very confident of this. Left side lesser reduction potential value, right side more. Lesser is always taken as anode, left side is a anode, right side is a cathode. Copper rod is here cathode. This cell is called Daniel cell because the scientist names only. Its name is Daniel cell. Daniel cell it is. Commonly called, these cells commonly called, they are called voltaic cells. Common name is, this is based on the name of the scientist who constructed this electrolytic cell. But commonly all the cells are these electrolytic cells are called voltaic cells. Common name is voltaic cells. Common name is voltaic cells, or other name is also there, galvanic cell. So we can call them either voltaic cells or galvanic cells. In this spontaneous reaction takes place. Left side of cell is called oxidation of cell. Right side of cell is called reduction of cell. So together is called redox coupling. So what is the reaction between, since it is more electronegative, more electropositive, more reactive, zinc rod leaves Zn plus ions into the solution. Zn plus 2 ions are released into the solution here, and Zn when loses 2 electrons, Zn when loses 2 electrons, it becomes Zn plus 2 electrons are released into the solution. So this is oxidation reaction. Left side oxidation reaction takes place, so that is called anode. Right side Cu plus 2 ions are there. These electrons flow from left to right in the outer circuit. Inner circuit is there, that is called salt bridge. To complete the circuit, we use a salt bridge. This name is a salt bridge. This is the complete structure of the electrolytic cell. Circuit is completed. So electrons flow from left to right, means anode to cathode. Cathode electrons move from left to right. Current flows from right to left. This is also important. Electron flow is left to right, whereas current flow is from right to left. Okay. Now, right side, when electron from left to right, in the solution there are copper ions are there. Each copper ion takes these 2 electrons on the right side, becomes copper solid. These are aqueous condition. Ions are in aqueous condition. Yes, this is a solid. Copper is deposited on the cathode. In this reaction, copper is deposited on the cathode. Here zinc dissolves into the solution as Zn plus 2 ions, whereas copper deposits on the, that is a red cathode. This is what happens in the electrolytic cell. Here reaction takes place, current flows from right to left, electrons flow from left to right. This is the main conception. Everybody should understand very clearly the structure and the flow of electrons. And when the ions are Zn plus 2 and copper plus 2 ions in the unity, their concentrations are unity, means 1 mole per liter. 1 mole per liter. When the concentrations of these ions are 1 mole per liter, or 1 mole per decimeter cube, dm cube. 1 dm cube is equal to 1 liter. So when the ions are in the unity, then the current flows in this electric potential in this of this electrolytic cell is 1.1 volts. 1.1 volts. So this is the construction of electrolytic cell. I hope you have understood. If any doubt, you can ask me by WhatsApp. You can ask any doubt. My phone number is 9010938939. At any time, you can pass your doubt regarding this concept that I explained to this number 9010938939. Thank you.